Hey folks, as we all know, that is Nirvana from Bleach. It's about a girl. That's not why we're here. We are here because we're just going to do a little rant. Because we can. So, scusi. You're not here on this channel because I'm going to sit here and blow smoke up your ass, right? You're here on this channel because it's me. You must have seen it by now. The moron who went up and started slapping little old ladies in the face because they were Trump supporters and they were at a Trump rally, and this was in California, Aliso Viejo, California, on Wednesday night. It's Friday. California man 33 punches elderly Trump supporter 84 and two other at MAGA rally before being brought down by retired cop after blowing smoke in their faces and burning a sign. Alvin Gary Shaw, 33, confronted a group of Trump supporters during a rally in Aliso Viejo, California on Wednesday night. I'm actually okay with you having political discourse with other people. Not a problem. He allegedly blew smoke in some of their faces and used his cigar to burn one person's Trump sign. Now I have problems with that. You're being a dick. If you want to drive your point home, being a dick is not the way to do it. But it gets worse. Shaw is accused of striking three people, including 84-year-old Donna Snow. Now, Trump is a 33-year-old black fella. He is not particularly large. I don't know how tall he is, but he's pretty wiry and rangy, but that's neither here nor there. What kind of punk-ass bitch hits an 84-year-old woman? There's a couple of things wrong with this scenario. Okay? Now, I am not the nicest person on the planet. I will tell you that right now. I would never be described as nice. Well, that's not true. I'm polite to people I don't know, and I am polite to the patients that I have to deal with because that is my job. I like my neighbors for the most part, and the neighbors who I like, I'm friendly with. I have a very small, tight-knit group of friends. But other than that, I don't particularly like most people because most people tend to be idiots. And it goes back to the predator-prey model. There's like 90% of the people are herd animals. And then you have like 7% of the people are sheepdogs, for want of a better term. And then about 3% of the people are just psychopathic predators. And this is about true. It's not my theory. I read it years ago, and it seems to hold up. If you don't believe me, watch traffic patterns. There's the idiots that drive in a cluster. And then there's the people like me. I don't want to be in a cluster of cars. You're asking for trouble. The higher the density, the higher the likelihood that there's going to be something that goes sideways and you'll be involved. So I'm like, you fucking idiots can go. And I'm just going to be back here in that sweet spot between the thrombi. And then there's the moron who has to blow past me, weave in and out of that one, get to the front of that clot, into the sweet spot, blow through there and get into the next one. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I love Jesus too. I just don't want to meet him today. Is what it is. So, well, that is the reason I'm not by any stretch of the imagination a humanitarian. The fact that this guy had the balls to strike an 84-year-old woman and didn't get stomped out of existence immediately on the spot, that would be the sheepdog. Should have went in. She was 80 fucking 4. The sheepdog should have went in. 2 or 3 of them should have just grabbed this guy, took him off to the side behind the dumpster, rearranged his anatomy so he understood why he misbehaved, and walked away. I don't know nothing. You know, I don't know nothing either. We wasn't even there. I was over there with Jimmy and Double J and the boys, and we was having a beer. Yeah, that's what we were doing. Just saying. So after Dickhead strikes 84-year-old Donna Snow, he pulled a small pocket knife, but was soon brought down by a retired police officer. Thank fucking God for the old police officer guy. And up until now, we haven't mentioned any color whatsoever. Right? We just haven't. Well, Alvin Shit for Brains Gary Shaw, he'd be a Negro fella. And the police officer, well, they don't mention his color either. Nor do they show him, but I am going to assume that the retired police officer at a Trump rally is probably one of those horrible, racist, white supremacist Caucasian people. Scusi, I'm just going to assume. Could be a black guy, in which case, I'm okay with that too. I don't really give a fuck. The fact that he stood up and lit this punk bitch up is the important thing. Police arrested Shaw on suspicion of elder abuse, which should be a fucking felony, and assault with a deadly weapon, and assault and battery. Okay. The Daily Mail article, by the way. You know what they left out? You know what Alvin does for a living? Alvin's a mail carrier. Yep, that's right. The same guy that's going to take your ballot and deliver it unharmed, maimed, mutilated, or shit-canned. That's this guy. You know, their union backed Joe Biden. Come on, folks. Think about it for a fucking second. This is getting out of hand. We're being split from the inside by people whose best interest is in having the United States dissolve. I've said this before and I'll say this again. I will say this every day till I go into the dirt. We're a problem for the rest of the world. The rest of the world is under the impression that they can live that kumbaya Star Trek bullshit lifestyle. Oh, the United Federation and everyone's the same and blah blah blah. Yeah, fuck you. Hey, it doesn't work. You know how it's bullshit? If you watched, what was the second show? The Next Generation or something, right? And the Klingons, who through the entire... Now, I watched the first one. I'm that old. I watched the first series of Star Trek. The Klingons were the fucking enemy. Because the Klingons were a stand-in for communism, in case you didn't get that. When we did television back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, there's the white hat. The white hat's America. And the black hat, well, the black hat's the authoritarian thug who hates freedom and apple pie and hot dogs and mom. They're the communists. So the Klingons were literally a communist analog. But in the next generation, we made up with the Klingons and we're all good. And I'm like, how the fuck does that happen? Because they were an extremely warlike race and they understood warrior culture a hell of a lot better than the hippy dippy fucktards in the Federation. And so what did they do? They changed it. The Klingons were no longer the bad guys. It was Romulans? I think it was the Romulans, which is actually kind of funny because the Romulans, well, the mythos goes that Remus and Romulus were the founders of Rome. And Rome, much to the chagrin of the Greeks, was actually the first democratic society to work. People don't pick that up very often. But they took the Romulans and they made them anti-democratic. They were authoritarian shitbags because they were also now the new, I want to say communist analog. I think they were probably going for more of a crony capitalistic analog, is what it is. Anyway, we're off on a tangent. And we shouldn't be, because tangents are bad places to be at 11 minutes and 40 seconds. So anyway, shitbag here gets arrested in California. He's a postal carrier. This is the guy who's going to make sure that every one of your ballots in that special enclosed sleeve where nobody can see whether it's marked R or D in plain sight, it's going to make sure your ballot gets in. Now remember, we already have states today that literally they're flaunting their ability over the federal government, which makes me laugh. It's like Michigan and I think it was Michigan and Virginia said, well, we're going to extend the period where ballots can be turned in by 14 days. So you can turn your ballot up to 14 days after the election ends, which midnight on the 3rd, I think. Covered this yesterday in case you people weren't fucking paying attention. Go look at yesterday's video. The plot to steal the election. It's in there. I literally told you this is what they're going to do. They're going to sit there. They're going to wait for the count. Then they're going to print more ballots than there are people. Then they're going to turn those ballots in to overturn the election because it'll be a false election. Because we now have 130% of the population voting, which, you know, when it's Obama, that's okay because fucking uniparty Republicards didn't say anything because they're fucking weak and useless. Well, the problem is, if they invalidate the election on election night, Trump and Pence get pulled out and Pelosi takes over because that's the way it's structured. 12th Amendment. Take a look. I don't know, folks. 14 minutes. We're going to get out quick. I think this particular fellow who's been weaponized and turned into a zombie should, at the very least, be sterilized and removed from polite society. At the absolute worst, should probably be dropped into a wood chipper and turned into compost. But that's just my opinion, and I'm not calling for violence, because violence is bad. It is what it is. All right, thanks for swinging by. I will catch you on the next one. You folks have a nice weekend. Fly low and slow, head on a swivel, sleep light and tight. All that stuff. But it, again, and this is my new sign-off. Unplug. Take a moment away from all the distractive bullshit. You know whose fault this is? Fucking grandbabies. Change your life. Unplug. Take a minute away from everything else. Go play with the kids. Go play with the grandkids. Go snuggle up to the old lady and make her happy. Squeeze her ass. Make her giggle. Life is too short, my friends. And you have to remember why we're here. And it's none of this bullshit. We'll catch you on the next one. Have a good weekend. Oh, I can't scold you. I'm out of beer. Well, luckily, there's a refrigerator right behind me. Adios.